Hey, how's it going? I'm just getting set up. How's everybody doing today? Happy Saturday. I am just getting set up. Wow, some people already in chat. How's it going? Yay, new build. Nice. Fumosis. Nice. New build, what'd you build? Home Lab Do. Hey, how's it going? Takano, hey again. How you doing? Exenud. Hey, my first time on stream. Hey, welcome. Welcome to the stream. Hope it's everything you hope for. Home Lab New, yeah, hey, welcome. Yeah, sorry, I'm just getting set up. I had to get a couple things in order to do what I want to do today. But yeah, hope everybody's doing good. Let me check this out. So we had some follows. Yeah, so I had some follows this morning. Thank you so much for following. Looks like we had a couple just within the last, I don't know, hour or so. So, hey, DZ, if you're here, thank you. Digital, if you're here. Harvest Core, thank you. Yeah, thank you guys so much. Those were just recent, so I don't know if it was right before the stream or earlier today, but hope everybody's doing good. I am going to attempt today to, well, not attempt, but I'm going to. Hopefully it goes well. Build my new for real Rancher 2 server. Running Kubernetes because I've had that one that's kind of temporary, and then I have 2 Rancher 1 servers. So today's the day that I'm like, I need to migrate the rest of my stuff. And I thought, well, instead of migrating it, I'm totally going to build new ones because now they support newer versions of Ubuntu and newer versions of Docker. So I'm like, I'm not going to upgrade that server. I don't have much on it anyway, but I'm totally gonna go for it. It's the only way I can do a couple of things I want to do here in the future. So Fumosis, been working on a K3 cluster. Nice. Still working out the kinks. Nice. What do you got running on there? Some internal services, some external services, things you're hosting yourself, or jobs, or just learning? Yeah, so I run a ton of stuff on mine. A lot of internal stuff for fun, for my home, and then some external stuff like for real, and then yeah, some other stuff for fun. I don't know, tons of stuff, tons of bots. I run bots for Discord, for Twitch. Used to run some for Mixer, some for Twitter. I don't even know how many bots I have. I have lots, and I have multiple Discord bots for multiple communities. I have a bot that runs this channel. Then I have, you name it, everything you can see on my screen here. I'm running a lot of this stuff. Yeah, I mean, I'm running most of this stuff too in Rancher, Kubernetes. So, but some of it's on Rancher 1, which is not Kubernetes. It's using their old cattle system. So that's where I kind of want to switch and do it for real and stop living in this in-between mode. The only problem I have is now this. A lot of my external services, like once I cut over, there's kind of no going back, at least how I have my current setup set up. How my current setup is configured, how about that? Because I only have one load balancer, and I point all my traffic there, so I gotta cut over, but yeah, we'll see. Fumosis, just basic internal services, Plex, home automation, Pi-hole, sweet, yeah, that's the good stuff. That's the good stuff. Not so basic. I think that stuff's awesome. Because that's the stuff like you get excited about. That's the stuff, you know, services you get to run in your home that other people get to use too. And that's it's always super fun. But yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, Pi-hole, I've been running Pi-hole for a while. I really enjoy it. Yeah, running all kinds of stuff lately. But need to consolidate, and I need to create some content. And so now the content I want to create is based on fully going to Kubernetes. So there's no turning back. I got to do it, or I'm kind of stuck. Home Lab New. Today was a big week for me. Decided to start a small folding at home server. Nice. And trying to figure out how to make it as efficient as possible. Nice. Yeah. Also, I've been working on a FreeNAS VM, so your TrueNAS video is very opportune. Hey, thanks. Yeah, appreciate it. Yeah, I figured I'd kind of get out ahead of the curve on that one. I you know, was testing it out, and I was like, how do you even upgrade this thing? Because they haven't released it yet. And I was like, oh yeah, totally. I can just do an offline upgrade. But yeah, I wanted to see what it was all about. And then I thought, well, I'm just going to make a video about it because I know a lot of people have that question. I had that question. I had to Google it. Like, how do I upgrade to TrueNAS? Nothing. 0 results. I got a whole bunch of results from TrueNAS Enterprise, IX Systems, of how to upgrade an existing TrueNAS Enterprise system. And I was like, well, that doesn't really help us. So I was like, well, opportunity here. I'm totally going to do it. But yeah, thank you. Appreciate it. But that's awesome. Small folding home server. That's awesome. Making it as efficient as possible. So are you going to run it bare metal? You're going to virtualize it? I assume, me personally, I would virtualize, but if you want it as efficient as possible, yeah, maybe bare metal is a good choice. There's no layer, but then again, virtualizing I think is totally fine too. Minor overhead. I mean, 1%, maybe 2%, overhead if you're using Proxmox or any other hypervisor. They are super efficient now. Techno, hey, how's it going? Finally got the batch panels and going to get more parts today and Monday. Yeah, awesome. Yeah, I saw it in Discord. I've been super enjoying seeing this unfold. I remember when you first joined the channel, you showed me your white rack, and then it turned into everything you've been doing now, which is a whole lot of reconfiguring. But that's what home labs and server racks are all about, and just home computers in general. If you're into them, there's always something that needs to be fixed or tweaked or optimized. But yeah, that's awesome. I've been following your story in Discord, and it's super awesome to see all those photos. It's coming along nicely. The one thing I did notice is that you had, I think, DVD/VCR in there, and I was like, oh, that's interesting. I was like curious, like if you were doing like, I don't know, converting. I don't know. It was just in the rack. To be honest, I have a VCR here too. It's just in the basement because one time we had to like convert it to digital, and so we bought like a VCR at like Goodwill for like $5, and it was like awesome. But yeah, HomeLab new, it's currently virtualized, but I'm considering putting it on bare metal, maybe Fedora server on a machine I have in the UK. However, to do that, I need to actually go to the UK and plug the machine in. Oh, is this your home that didn't have power or something? Which, man, that's a tough one. Go to the UK just to plug it in. Man, too bad you don't know anybody there that you could say, hey, can you plug in this machine, or trust anyone there to do it? But that's cool. Yeah, I don't know. I ran folding at home for a little bit, and I've run it both bare metal and I virtualized it. Virtualizing it is cool because then you can allocate only, 1 core, 2 core, and then you can limit the resources that way. You can basically throttle it by, the resources you allocate to it. So it's kind of cool. But yeah, either way is totally fine. Yeah, and then you can throttle in the app too through software too. So that's cool. Takano, yeah, the VCR is used for VHS to digital. Yeah, same thing for me. Like, I don't remember. Some family had some VHS, and I was like, yeah, I can totally do it. And then same with the tape player. Someone else had something on the tape. I think it was my wife's mom. So my mother-in-law had stuff on a cassette tape, and we were like, we don't have a cassette tape player, and she has to convert it. Same thing. We went to Goodwill and bought like this awesome jam box for like $10, $5, and it's so awesome. But it's still in the basement too. That's sweet. Because my parents' wedding tapes and stuff like that are all on VHS. Yeah, totally agree. That's the same with my wife's parents, and why we started doing that. I got this VCR for like $10 at Savers. Yeah, totally. And it was almost brand new in the box. It was refurbished before it was taken to Savers. Yeah, Savers is awesome. We used to have one near here, but it closed down. But yeah, I totally agree. I love perusing Goodwills and Salvation Armies and Savers too. It's like there's just so much to look at. HomeLab new, I know, right? I'm from the US, but I study in the UK, and the machine is sitting in a garage over there. The other reason I want to use that machine is because the actual has an actual modern GPU, which I understand makes a big difference for folding. Yeah, you can. I think you can use your GPU to do the folding over your CPU. I don't think I ran it like that, but you can. I think you can. I think it's totally acceptable and doable. Yeah, but man, depending on the machine, like, couldn't you just spin something up here instead of like going all the way to the UK to plug it in? It sounds like a trip. Must be an awesome machine. Oh, it's loud. It's so loud. Okay, so it's total server, like server rack in mine. My basement, which is kind of loud. I mean, loud is relative. I mean, it's not as loud as the dryer, but it's you know, not quite either. Home Avenue. I wanted to use my server, but it gets loud. Yeah. Yeah, I hear you. That's why I just put my servers somewhere where I don't like. I'm not at often, which is our basement. But that may change. Might do some stuff. Might do some stuff to the basement, but who knows? Sometimes I see people's server racks in their garage too. And I'm just like trying to think like, okay, what's the climate like, you know, because I don't know, my server rack's in the basement, and it, you know, it stays relatively cool and dry there all the time. But then when I see them in people's garages that aren't heated, I'm just kind of like, what goes on in the summertime? Like, can that server overheat? I guess it could. And then like in the wintertime, it'd be perfect here. It'd just be so frigid cold. It would be perfect. Need a portable one that I can like move it in and outside easily automatically to either, you know, warm up the house or, you know, move it outside when it gets too warm inside. But yeah, that's awesome. Oh, sorry, I'm just like I drink lots of liquids, so sorry if I'm always like crushing like bubbly water or my Nalgene full of water. I drink lots of water and stuff all day long. Fumosis, so which Kubernetes stack are you using today? RKE, I'm assuming. Yeah, yep. So I'm gonna be setting it up exactly like I do in my videos. So I'm gonna use single node, non-HA, Docker install. I've been going back and forth about using the Rancher OS, and I've used it before in the past, but it's kind of a pain, and I get it. It's totally hardened, and it you know, allows you to easily pin Docker and, you know, Rancher to a certain version so that you can, I don't know, you don't accidentally upgrade them. You're basically always on a supported version, but it's kind of a pain to set up. So I'm just gonna go the Ubuntu 2004 and then just go with the Docker install, because I enjoy the Docker install. It's kind of Inception. You're like running your Docker, you know, orchestrator on Docker too, but it's worked out well for me so far. Makes upgrades kind of okay. They're a little bit harder in Rancher 2. What's up? Oh, XOR 65. Hey, how's it going? Hey, I'm doing good. Saturday, chilling. Just just hanging out. About to hopefully spin up a new server and do some installs. I'll see how it goes. I was saying earlier that I totally need to go for real all in now with Rancher 2. I've been running Rancher 1 for like so long, and I'm partially on Rancher 2, and I'm, like I said earlier, in order for me to create the content I want to create, I got to get fully on Rancher 2, because I could, but I can't just be like, yeah, let's do all this stuff on Rancher 1, but yet, you know, I want to be on Rancher 2. So anyways, long story short, I just need to hopefully knock that out today. We'll see. It shouldn't be too hard. I'm going to have to remember the commands and stuff like that, but yeah, Dockerception, it totally is. It totally is. I think that, yeah, Rancher in general kind of gets like that, Docker/Inception together. It's hurts my brain to think about sometimes. But there are a few things like that that's like, wait, what? You know, especially, you know, backing up stuff to my virtual machine, like backing up physical machines to my virtual machine, and then accidentally forgetting that like I shouldn't back up the virtual machine to itself, which is totally Inception. Like in Proxmox, I have, you know, Proxmox backup server set up, and I have NFS shares set up with FreeNAS. And sometimes I'll accidentally forget and kick off a backup of one of those servers, which the share is hosted on itself, and there's no like recovering from that. It just goes into a tailspin because it's like trying to do a snapshot backup of a device that's currently running to itself, and there's no end to it. I've always had to like quit. Yeah, like force stop. Speaking of TrueNAS, man, this morning I was totally checking out TrueNAS Scale because I was like, well, you know, I virtual infrastructure, download the ISO, and I was checking it out. It's pretty cool. You know, I didn't obviously use any of the features of TrueNAS Scale, but the cool thing was it's based on Linux now, so it's based on Debian, which, you know, to some people that means something, to others it doesn't. But for me, it was cool because I virtualized TrueNAS or FreeNAS, and you know, it's always been tough shutting it down, like the most basic thing ever, because it's based on FreeBSD. You don't have the QEMU guest agent, and now that it's based on, you know, Debian, I just did, you know, apt install, you know, QEMU guest agent, and 10 seconds later, guest agent was on, and I was getting all of my optimizations for the VirtIO drivers, and I could easily shut it down. I could see my IP address in Proxmox. I was like, okay, like this is awesome now because, yeah, just because, you know, because it's Debian now. So they're not switching. And I think IX Systems has kind of made it clear that they're going to continue to support and evolve the FreeBSD version of TrueNAS. Like I just learned all this morning, so I apologize if some of it's not clearly thought out. But what I learned was currently FreeNAS, TrueNAS, and TrueNAS Core, and then TrueNAS Enterprise in the future are still going to run on FreeBSD, and they'll continue to evolve, and they'll run on FreeBSD. But there are lots of things they want to do that they, I don't want to say can, but they're saying a lot of their customers or the community are asking for a Linux version, a Debian version, but a Linux version, I should put it that way, and they chose Debian so that they can do other things. And so I totally spun it up this morning, and I was like, oh, this is cool. So they're gonna have LXC containers, they're gonna have native Docker support, and then because it's a Debian-based system, you can install anything from Aptitude, which, you know, you may or may not want to do depending on how hardened you want your server. But for me, it was awesome because then I could totally just install the guest editions, or not a guest editions, it's not VirtualBox, but you know what I mean, the QEMU guest agent. So it was pretty cool. And so I watched a couple interviews with IX Systems, and it was super interesting to listen to, like their reasoning and why they're doing it. And they were just basically saying that they've been able to vertically scale easily, you know, right now. Like right now they can vertically scale, have these big, large, you know, TrueNAS enterprise systems where people have petabytes of data. But they want to be able to scale out too, you know, scale wide. And so some of the things that they want to do are, you know, going to require help from other, you know, open source projects. That's the way I took it, you know. And they specifically mentioned KVM too. So they're going to switch their not switch, bad choice of words. On FreeNAS Scale, they're going to use KVM. Versus what they use now on FreeBSD, which is, I don't know, Beehive or something weird. I don't know. Anyways, yeah, so totally interesting. I spun it up. I could spin that up too today if you guys are interested, but it's super, super early. Like when you go to the container section, right away it's like coming soon, you know? But right away too, there was a nightly build update, and I'm like, sweet, let's update it. And immediately I was like, come on, give me LXC containers or give me Docker support, and still it says coming soon. But it's very early, and they said they're not going to release it until 2021, and I think that's the only date they put on it. But anyways, long story short, FreeNAS scale, totally, I'm all in, and for no other reason other than I get to install my QEMU, guest agent on my virtual machines because I virtualize it. And I know there's a lot of controversy around virtualizing in general, but IX System has documentation on how to virtualize FreeNAS or TrueNAS or whatever. But anyways, you guys know I virtualize that. But so sorry, got to get caught up. So Home Lab, that's what I learned this morning. It's pretty interesting. I mean, if you look on YouTube, there's a couple of quick interviews with the VP of engineering from IX Systems, and it's 5 minutes long. It's great. It's a good look at the future of TrueNAS. So pretty cool. DZ, hey Techno Tim, hey, how's it going? How are you doing? Yeah. Dr. HCC or DRHCC, hey, what's up? I just very recently discovered your YouTube channel, Tim. I'm a complete beginner in all this stuff, but I've been enjoying learning about everything. So thanks for that. Hey, no problem at all. I think we're all, we're all beginners at something. I'm a beginner at a lot of the stuff that I'm even doing now, I feel like, because this isn't like my profession. I mean, I'm in IT. I'm actually a software engineer. I mean, I started out kind of in infrastructure, so I think we're just all in it together, figuring it out. So I appreciate it. I appreciate you stopping in and for that comment too. Phantom Way, sub, just joined. Hey, how's it going? Thanks for joining. Appreciate it. You didn't miss much. Just probably me rambling about TrueNAS scale and some other stuff too. Yeah, I haven't seen that name in a while. Hey, thanks for the follow. Lewis McKinsey, 16. Thank you so much for the follow. Appreciate it. It's only a gnome. Hey, like your name? It's only a gnome. Love your YouTube channel. More Proxmox, please. Yeah, for sure. I will have some more. I've done my early Proxmox videos. I'm glad they're there, but I'm not too proud of them. But I mean, I've only been doing my YouTube channel for like 6 months, so this is all like new, and I can only do one video a week. So yeah, I definitely have more content all around the whole entire like server in your home, kind of genre, which people call Home Lab. So more to come for sure. There will definitely be more Proxmox. There will be more TrueNAS. There will be more Rancher, Docker, Kubernetes, Raspberry Pi stuff too, because I enjoy all that. So, but yeah, I appreciate it. Jeez, Exor, whoa, thank you. That went so fast. My bot is going so fast. Hey, XOR65 gifting 5 subs. Wow, thank you so much. Dude, man, appreciate it. Thank you so much, XOR. That's so awesome. And I got like doubles going on because my alerts up here is still going, and then my Raspberry Pi back there is still going. So I appreciate it. Enjoy the gifted subs. I'll have more to come on some of the benefits of being a sub. I just haven't had time to finalize a lot of stuff, but I really appreciate it. Really appreciate it so much. Wow, that's awesome. Thank you so much. I got to get caught up now. That threw me off, but that's good. I don't even know where it was, man. That totally like threw me off. It didn't help that my bot was just like spamming too, but that means my bot's working. Most people in the channel know that I wrote that bot myself. It's open source. It's out on GitHub. Anyone can use it for Twitch if you stream on Twitch or you have a friend who does. It's out there. And some folks in this stream now have actually helped me fix bugs too. So I appreciate it. Hi, what's a rancher? A rancher, yeah. So we'll talk about it here in a little bit, but rancher is where do I begin? Rancher is an orchestration for containerization. And with Rancher, you can spin up things like Kubernetes, which gives you a lot of Docker. So yeah, we'll hop in here in a few minutes. Got a few ideas for a Proxmox video. It's only a gnome, yeah, for sure. Love to hear it. Lewis McKinsey, hey, my bot works because that command also works. Kubernetes is relatively new in general, at least for most people. I totally agree, Sergeant Shoddy, I totally agree. It's definitely new to people who haven't had experience with it. I mean, that's kind of obvious, but I'm a software engineer, and so Kubernetes is not a new thing to me, and not because I do DevOps or manage it, but that's how most clouds run. Most clouds and services, public-facing services are using Kubernetes, and that's how I know about it too. And that's how I know about Docker. Like, the only reason why I like Docker so much is because I write code, and then I like to put my code in Docker containers. And then the next evolution of that was like, okay, how do we get those containers running on servers or running in the cloud or a cloud, or, and that was Kubernetes. So I totally agree. It's only known Proxmox on wireless. Interesting. That sounds interesting. Yeah, that's, I got to think of a use case for that. But yeah, I mean, if your Proxmox server is totally wireless, ZFS encrypted setup. Okay, interesting. I like it. Like where you're going there. Sorry, trying to get caught up. What were you doing in Proxmox? Probably to no interest. No problem, man. Just wanted to show the support. XOR, thank you. Sorry, getting caught up in comments. Yeah, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. That was totally unexpected, and you really don't have to, but I appreciate it so much. Yeah, again, no one has to do anything except for show up if you have some time. So I really appreciate it. It really went above and beyond. So thank you. Talk about lucky. Been here for 5 minutes and got a sub. Yeah, Sergeant Shadi. Yeah, totally gifted sub. There was another follow in there. I'm Lyman's son. It's tough for me to read with my glasses. But thank you for the follow. Appreciate it. Carlos Eric. Yep. Thanks a lot. There were a lot of gifted subs thrown out there. So enjoy. And I'll have some more benefits here soon. You could be his brother. Wait, who? Johnny Depp. That's funny you say that, because yeah, I've heard it before. It just depends. Like sometimes, it just depends on like how much I let go of myself. Seems like the more I let go of myself as far as shaving goes, if people on YouTube comments are like, I didn't know Johnny Depp was a nerd and all this stuff. I'm like, but yeah, it's funny. Yeah. Ever since I started growing this out, people said it for sure. But yeah, I'll take that as a compliment, because he seems like a pretty cool dude. At least in the past. I don't know about recently. I don't know. I don't keep up on him. But I think of him as the movie star and not his personal life. So I don't even know what his personal life is either, but seems to be in the news for not the greatest stuff sometimes. But who knows? Good afternoon, by the way, Carlos. Yeah, hey, welcome back. Desi, can you talk a little bit more about your education, how you got into software engineering? Yeah, I can. Yeah, it's not a long story, but so I didn't go to school for software engineering. I went to school. I actually studied Japanese, and I had a minor in computer science, and then I went to Japan for a little while, and then I was like, well, want to be back in the United States. And then I just got into IT. I fell into a tech support role. I started out doing tech support because it was just like, it was a job at a good company and I wanted to get in. And so that's what I did. And so I've done, and then it turned in from tech support to doing some software automation deployments to working for a larger company and doing some of the same stuff. And then started like messing around with apps, and I built a couple of apps outside of work, just for personal. And that's what got me interested in software engineering, because prior to that I was just doing a lot of system administration and automation of systems. And then like I said, I was building an app, got bit by the coding bug, I guess. And there was someone who worked at a place where I worked who had a position open, and I it was just a moonshot. And I said, hey, I write code. Here's an app I built, showed him my app. And I was like, I know you have a position open. I know I haven't done this professionally, but I would love to join your team. And he knew me from other stuff I'd done at the company. And he's like, let's do this. And so it was actually, there are a few times in my life, a few opportunities that I had that people gave me that if I didn't have those, I wouldn't be where I am today, or like what I am, or be the person I am today. And there are three people. It's the first person who gave me the job as tech support. It was the guy who I just talked about giving me that role as a software engineer. And then it was another person who gave me an opportunity to actually do some stuff in Canada and Toronto for a while. And those three opportunities presented themselves to me and just helped me tremendously. But anyways, long story short, so totally self-taught. I love writing code. I love automating stuff. I build tons of stuff all the time. And yeah, that's kind of my story. I love gaming too. So like what I love to do is write code to automate stuff or build things that people can interact with. And if it's in the gaming genre, then it's awesome. Then I just love it. So, and that's a lot of the reason why I like my Discord bots that I run everywhere. It's super fun. And yeah, so that's probably a boring story, but that's kind of how I got into software engineering. It was doing it myself. It was doing the hard work, watching tons of videos, failing many, many times, writing lots of bad code, but just persisting. And it was just persistence over and over and over, and repetition. It was write this code, watch this video, write this code, didn't work, delete it, start all over, write this code, didn't work, troubleshoot, Stack Overflow, all the time. And it's really just persistence for me. It's how I learn still today. Like most of my YouTube videos, before I create that YouTube video, I've already spun that thing up and failed and miserably 3, 4, 5, 6 times. And then, I have run a lot of those services or that hardware before I even, create a video about it. So yeah, for me, it's how I learn, but repetition and persistence. So sorry, long story there. I need a cool story, bro. Emoji or emote. I think that's going to be one that I'm going to create sometimes so that everybody can just throw it in chat when I'm like rambling about about something to wrap it up. But so anyways, you confused, brother. I've been creating our own Discord bot in JS, but I'm not good at it. Do you have an idea of how to help me? Lewis McKinsey, welcome. Oh, good afternoon, Carlos. I saw that, but I saw you were in here earlier. But Lewis, do I have any idea of how I can help you? Yeah, so a couple of things. If you're not good at JavaScript, like I just said, it's going to be repetition. It's going to be a lot of failures and a lot of things not working. And that's what software engineering is. It's no one. I mean, I shouldn't say no one, but a lot of the times, like I'll kind of know the code I want to write, and I'll understand the problem, but I'll have no idea what I'm going to do in between until I get there. Like I kind of have an idea of what needs to happen, but not the exact code I'm going to write. So it's a lot of experimentation. But the best way to get help is, I think personally, is to ask the right questions too. I mean, we have a Discord server. There's a code section. There's people that would love to help. I can help too. If you just do !Discord, or you look in the panels below, there's a link to our Discord server. So happy to help, but always remember you got to ask the right questions too, rather than like, this doesn't work. It's got to be, hey, I'm trying this. This doesn't work. This is what I've tried. This is the error. Gonna get some help. Those types of things. But that's just good question asking in general. So that's not tied to JavaScript, but I love JavaScript too. Anyways, software engineer, teach me Python. Sergeant Shoddy, I'm not the one to teach you Python, that's for sure. I'd love to know more Python, but like everything I do lately has just been like TypeScript, JavaScript, back end, front end, mobile, web, servers, and some database stuff with Mongo. Smashing Crack. Oh, wow. Dude, pleasure to catch your stream finally. Hey, so welcome. Yeah, that's a new name. Your videos have been invaluable to me learning all the home lab stuff. Awesome. I'm happy you're learning. That said, having messed around with it, I'm really not sure why I'd want to use Kubernetes on top of Docker in a home lab one node environment. I watched your videos and I still don't get it. Yeah, I totally. And so a lot of people, so I'll put this out there. I'm not like diehard, like you got to do Docker, right? And I'm not a diehard, like you got to containerize over virtualize. I think especially for home lab, like do what works for you. Someone in comments the other day was like, oh, you threw all the best practices out the window. And I'm like, you know what? This is my home and this is for fun. Like I'm not here, I'm not a professor, or, I don't know, not my profession to talk about best practices. Although I do understand some of them, I don't know all of them for all of the things that I use. And anyways, long story short, the reason why I choose Rancher, I'm going to unpeel the onion, but I'll start with the middle. Is I write code, and when I write code, I put that code inside of a Docker container. Right? There's one layer. So I need Docker containerization. Okay, so how do I get Docker containerization? I can just install Docker, or I can install Portainer. But being a software engineer, we typically use Kubernetes. A lot of them do. And so Kubernetes gives you Docker, or it's a requirement of Docker or of Kubernetes. And so when I write my code and I want to deploy stuff, I'm going to use Kubernetes to pull down or deploy it's really pulling your Docker image, but I'll say deploy my Docker image or container. And then instead of me spinning up a whole and trying to figure out how to get Kubernetes running at home, Rancher does that for me. And so Rancher orchestrates Kubernetes, which orchestrates Docker. And so it's not that I, don't like LXC, or that I, don't like Portainer, or that I can't do just plain old Docker stuff. It's that I want Kubernetes so I can deploy my code at home, just like I deploy my code to the cloud. And so long story short, that's why. And Portainer, plain old Docker, awesome. LXC, awesome. Just virtualizing stuff, awesome. Bare metal, awesome. I say, go with what works for you. And if Rancher and Kubernetes seems like it's a pretty thick topic, it seems pretty dense, and it is pretty dense. And if it's too dense for now, don't do it for now, And if Docker is too complicated now, it's totally fine. Like, you can spin up, Pi-hole in a virtual machine or on a Raspberry Pi like I did. And it doesn't have to be containerized. It doesn't have to be virtualized. It can run bare metal on some old computer you have or a Raspberry Pi. And so, but for me, I found I like, outside of my code piece. So if I didn't deploy code, I still like the efficiencies I get from using containerization, because I can spin up a new container, and the incremental cost of that container is just the RAM and compute that it uses. Where typically if I was like, hey, I want Plex, install it on a virtual machine and get that running. Then I want Pi-hole, install it on a virtual machine and get that running. Now I have, 2 virtual machines with, disk space, CPUs allocated, RAM allocated, that I don't get a lot of sharing from. And so for me, it's build a virtual machine, get a containerization platform, and then plop all those containers on there. And then each container I put on there, I'm only incrementing the total cost by the amount of RAM and compute by that one process. And so that's all it's doing. Just think of it like installing a process, but it's, from a high level, it's just taking a process, plucking it and putting it into another server without interfering with anything else that's on that server. So hopefully that explains it. And I'm sure there are people who know Kubernetes and Docker and LXC way more than I do. But I explain it from like my point of view and how I understand it. Lewis, Sergeant Shoddy, is that where I'm at? Nice to hear how others get into IT. I got pushed heavily into cybersecurity. Love it now though. That's awesome. Yeah, that's awesome. Like I know very little about cybersecurity. I mean, I mean, I know how to secure applications, make my application secure, but cybersecurity is almost like undoing that or trying to figure out how to undo that with pen testing or whatever. It's super interesting. I mean, as far as I got was like trying to recover files from a hard drive once that I accidentally formatted. That's like my extent. And that's not even cybersecurity. I don't know what that is. It's data recovery. But that's awesome. That's good to know. Yeah, that's sweet. Like what like is your day-to-day like pen testing and patching? And like I knew people who I work with who they were in cybersecurity, but I never really knew exactly what they did. They were just like friends I'd see at work. I guess I should ask them more, but I feel like there's like a lot of patch management and security testing involved, like pen testing and stuff like that. Lewis McKinsey, can I show you what I've done at the moment on Discord? You can post it in there, post it in code. I'm not going to hop directly into there, but I'll definitely see it. And some other people will as well. They will too. And definitely remember to post the errors that you're getting to, because the errors help identify like where the problem is or what part of the process. I'm Limonson. I'll go with Limonson. I'm Limonson. Techno Tim. I'm looking to get serious with my home lab and consolidate all of my random Raspberry Pis. Yeah, I've been there for sure. Thinking about one for a storage server with TrueNAS and another for a higher CPU RAM for my VMs, and use iSCSI for storage. Sounds exactly like what I have going on. Any suggestions on what to buy? Yeah, that's a tough question. First of all, if you have old hardware, I'd say use that. I think most people would agree that like and I totally agree that and I probably said this before, but my first home lab was like this 300 megahertz computer that was like a piece of junk, and it was like headed for the dumpster, but I asked my boss at the time, like, can I take this home? And so, I know that like if you've seen mine seems super overkill, and it probably is, and it still is for what I do. But for the most part, if you have an older PC, I would totally do that. Like my home lab is usually my hand-me-down. It's my hand-me-down from myself. So my last home lab before I got my server rack was my old gaming computer, my old gaming PC. And gaming PCs are fantastic for servers, maybe not so much for power, but in general for just like for your first home lab especially. So if you have like I mean, unless you want to go full on server rack mount and you want ECC RAM and a server class processor, I would say if you have a gaming PC, upgrade your current gaming PC and then make your old one your home lab. But if you don't want to do that, I have some suggestions in the panels below of just like a budget NAS and a budget performance, virtualization server that you can check out. You're free to check those out. But I never, I always remind people that like, it doesn't take much to run a home lab in general. I know that people see servers and they're like, I need, all of this power. But if a Raspberry Pi can do almost what you need, and you just need a little bit more, a desktop class processor, any Ryzen or any Intel is gonna totally do exactly what you need. Because most of the time the servers aren't that busy. Unless you're running folding at home security, or transcoding a ton of stuff on Plex, most of the time they're pretty, it doesn't take that many resources. Unless you have tons of users, unless you're running something like kind of public or enterprise, or transcoding a ton of stuff with Plex, like your media over the network, then yeah, like an older PC, even 5 years ago, is gonna just totally be awesome. So not trying to talk you out of buying stuff, but if you wanna learn and you wanna do something, soon, and you have old hardware lying around, I would try that. If not, like I said, I have some suggestions below. And then in our Discord, you could throw it in there too, and we'll all pile on and give some good recommendations. But yeah. Oh, that was a long one, sorry. My stuff is broke. Why no work? Craven. Yeah. I know. That's why I kind of have the help channel. And it's not even just it's not to be. I didn't create that help channel to be snarky. It's more just like an efficiency thing. Like, hey, if you ask the question a good way the first time, then I can respond with an answer instead of responding with more questions. But yeah. It could be the same machine if you configure it right. That's exactly right, Home Lab New. And that's why I've, everything's virtualized on mine, because I'm the same way. I want to get the most out of my hardware. And that's where I kind of, I've kind of scaled up, not out. And some people scale out where they're like, I need 3 servers and all this stuff. I'm like, no, I just need 1 server with lots of RAM and lots of PCI lanes. Server the Home is doing a series on small form factor business PCs that can be bought on the cheap. Grab you a few of those, yeah. And you got a cluster for sure, yeah. Heck yeah. If you need a cluster, if you need one, yeah. Or if that's what you want to do, for sure. I keep going back to like, should I cluster Proxmox? But anyways, that's a question for a different day. Not pen testing. Most of my stuff centers around risk management framework. Okay, RMF and compliance. So if I was working with you, I tried to make sure you were following good coding practices and proper protections for data like HIPAA and PCI. Yeah, PCI compliance and HIPAA. Yeah, HIPAA, Health Information Privacy Act Association. I don't know what the last A is for. But yeah, I know HIPAA. I worked in health care before. I didn't write code then, but yeah, I totally understand. That's awesome. Phantom Way, using about 5 to 7% average CPU over the period of day, I don't need more than a dual core. Yeah, I totally agree. It just depends on your workloads. I do run Blue Iris and I have like 6 cameras, but even that virtual machine with 6 cameras and like alerting and monitoring and, rollback cache for 10 seconds or something and analyzing for movement, 20% CPU, and that's, most people are like, oh, I heard, you shouldn't virtualize Blue Iris. I'm like, if you don't think I should virtualize Blue Iris, you should see what else I got running on there. FreeNAS, Blue Iris, gaming PCs, it's totally fine. I've never understood why people get super, I don't know, why they dictate what you should and shouldn't virtualize. I'm like, have you heard of the cloud before, or data centers? Like everything's virtualized there. Barely anything's bare metal. But yeah, and people, I get flack sometimes about virtualizing FreeNAS. I'm like, have you guys seen their documentation? They have documentation on how to virtualize it, But yeah, anyways, okay, so Home Lab New, if you actually want a server, Dell R720 is a good shout. Yeah, R720, I wish I would have found one at the time. I have a 710, it's fantastic. I just wish it had, PCI Express 3. Not that I'm exceeding the bandwidth, but I just don't want to have to upgrade again in the future when I need more bandwidth. Yeah. Get a Threadripper 2970WX, you will be set. Yeah. I think, as Phantom Way mentioned, any dual core processor, an old Core 2 Duo from, 6-7 years ago is going to be totally fine for the most part, for what most people want to do. I mean, most of the time you're using that CPU when you boot the machine up and you're spinning up all those services. Then after that, it's like, okay, a little bit of compute, everything's in RAM, and it's just being a server, serving out requests or doing things when it needs to. But yeah. See here, sorry. This is, things getting a little bit, I gotta refresh this, my notifications. Gotta make sure they're up to date. Okay, let's see here, sorry. Scrolled up a little bit. Tim said there were panels to click on for more information. I'm on the Twitch app on my phone. Do I need to be on the Twitch website? I don't know where they put them on the app. You might have to go down there and click about. When you click on about, it might show more information. I forget what the Twitch app, how to see the panels. It should be on about. If not, it's on the web. And if not, if you come here, it's always there too on the web. And then you'll see I have a gear tab, and it's just a bunch of stuff I use or recommend that I think is awesome, that people ask me. Like you've asked me, and I have a lot of people asking me about all kinds of stuff like, hey, what's, what arm are you using? Or your standing desk, like what standing desk do you use? Or what lights do you use? So every time I find something that's awesome and someone asks me, I just add it to a collection. But if you need help finding it, you can find it on twitch.tv/technotim and in the panels. In the app, it should be there too, but who knows what Twitch is doing with the app anymore. It's actually pretty awesome, but they made it a little harder to find panels because I think they want to show you like recent content to drive engagement, and I get that. Phantom Way. Craven. Yep. Yep. Don't think we can post links in here for you. Yeah. Apologies. Nope. But it's just Technotim. Twitch.tv/Technotim. Just checking this page out sometimes when you're at a PC. Yep. I virtualized mine. There's no need for more than one server for me. Yeah, I'm there with you. I do have 2 servers, but my second server is very specialized. It has a couple of video cards in it, but that's only because I'm doing something super specialized right now, and I'm actually going to consolidate it back into my main one now. So I just had to go 2 servers because I needed 2 video cards, and my Dell R710 couldn't take 2 video cards. But now that I only need 1, it's going back in there. And that's my old gaming PC, and it's fantastic. I mean, it's I don't know, Haswell. But yeah, it's awesome. I'm Lymanson. Okay, I just moved to the desktop version of Twitch. He is talking about the yep. If you click on gear, it'll take you to Kit.co, and then there's a bunch of stuff I recommend, and I think one in there is a performance virtualization server. If you can even find parts. But I'm gonna update that soon because I just need to have a few more options for people. But yeah, there's some stuff in there. If not, like I said, upgrade your current PC and use your old PC as a server, or it'll work fantastic. The updates do push to my dual cores though. Windows servers VM. I totally agree. As soon as you click like update, like Windows Update goes crazy and like does some kind of, I don't know, tries to figure out what updates you need and caches a ton of stuff. And also like their whole like ad hoc sharing Windows updates internally. I found that like after I rebuild my machine, that's the first thing I turn off because that thing like pegs my CPU. I don't know what it's trying to do. I think it's trying to like go out and communicate with my other Windows machines and download updates from it instead of through the internet. I'm like, nope, turn that off. I think people get nervous when putting FreeNAS on virtualized stuff because you're placing the ZFS storage pools on virtualized storage pools as opposed to doing PCIe pass-through for the storage controller. There's a potential for data loss. Allegedly, yep, totally agree. I totally agree, but I don't. I pass my, I mean, you probably know this, but I pass my HBA controllers through so that my ZFS storage pools aren't on virtualized storage. If that makes sense. I pass hardware through so that that virtual machine has direct access to all those disks. But yeah, I totally understand. I understand that fear for sure. Yep, and that's what I just mentioned because ZFS expects access to the raw drives. Yeah, and that's what I do. Pass them through, and I passed individual drives through too, and that worked for my Proxmox backup server. I passed 2 drives through directly to the virtual machine, and then from there, I'm not creating a ZFS pool and the virtual is in the hypervisor and then passing that through. I'm passing drives or drive controllers through. So that that virtual machine has direct access. But yeah, I totally agree with you there. That's where the fear is. I agree. XOR65 Technotim. Anything special needed for install a QEMU agent? I was just talking about that. I assume you're talking about FreeNAS, and yeah, you need a QEMU agent for FreeBSD, which I don't think it exists. I mean, maybe it does. But I haven't found a good way. And I was just talking about this earlier that TrueNAS Scale is now going to be based on Linux, so Debian. And that's what I did this morning. As soon as I pulled down there, it's super nightly build, not even beta yet. But I pulled it down, installed it, and then I realized, oh, this is Debian right away. First thing I did was install a QEMU agent. And so and it worked. And I was like, sweet, now I can shut down my, easily shut down my server without force quitting or going into the terminal and doing it, or and just getting all the optimizations that come along with that. But for FreeBSD, I have no clue. I haven't figured it out. I honestly, on my FreeNAS server, I've been in the terminal, but I don't do anything. I don't install anything extra on my FreeNAS server because I got a ton of data on there, and I'm just like, don't want to mess with that. I mean, I do most things through the GUI. I can do it through terminal, but I'm just like, I don't want to mess with it because I have I have 24 terabyte pool there, and I was just like, yeah, I don't want to play with it. Totally doable though. Having issues starting it on Ubuntu 2004. Oh yeah, it's totally fine. Oh, you're talking about the ZFS stuff. Yeah. So having issues starting it on Ubuntu 2004, I'm assuming so maybe I misunderstood you. Maybe you're just talking about QEMU agent in general for Ubuntu 2004. It should be there. I don't know. We're gonna install it here in a few. Yeah, but that's probably a good segue into what I was kind of hoping to at least partially accomplish today, which is, spin up a new Ubuntu server, 2004, and then we're gonna install Rancher, Docker, Rancher, Kubernetes, and get that going, because I want to migrate all of my external public stuff from my old Rancher server to that. And I've got to do it all in one shot. And I have some services that are publicly facing, and I don't want to do a whole lot of, be in a kind of a split mode. I want to get it done. But also, my Rancher 2 instance is still on 1804. So anyways, that's kind of what I wanted to do, is actually go through and start doing it. Because I need to, because it's kind of eating away at me having 3 Rancher servers right now, But yeah, if you're talking about Ubuntu 2004 and QEMU agent, we'll do it here. We'll do it here in a few seconds. Speaking of TrueNAS Core, it's right here. This is the one I was playing with this morning. That's based on Linux, which was pretty cool. But there were just a lot of placeholders like coming soon, click here for more information, which linked back to, I think, a blog post or a wiki, but it's still awesome to see. So anyways, that's what I planned on at least starting. Cool, yeah. Oh, sorry, Mike's over here. Yeah, let's do this. Fumosis, let's do this. Yeah, for sure. This is where the cool story bro would come in. Emote, I totally need it. And then that lets me know, totally. Let's do this. Let's ramp this up. Cool, yeah, no, not sure. Had an issue starting it on Ubuntu 2004. Oh, cool. Well, we'll do it. I don't know what I'm gonna name this server. I usually pick I don't know, space things, Galaxy stuff. I don't know. Well, my node that it's running on is called Galaxy. But I'm just gonna, it's so boring. Rancher 2, do I call it Rancher 2? I can rename it later. That's okay. So I can rename it later. So I've already downloaded Ubuntu 2004 here. So we're gonna set that. This system, graphics card, nope, VirtIO SCSI, yep, SCSI. We're gonna go VirtIO block. Disk size for this, I'm gonna give it 60 gigs. I'm just trying to think, yep, 60 gigs is totally fine. CPU, I'm gonna give this guy 24 cores because he's not gonna do a ton of work. Well, he's gonna have the ability to do tons of work. All right, so I gotta pull out my handy calculator. So this guy needs 32 gigabytes of RAM. And this is in MB bytes. I don't really care about MB bytes to megabytes. It's so dumb. Don't get me started on gibby bytes and gigabytes. 32,768, let's see if you're right. 1024 times 32. Look at that, you are so right, thank you. 768, thank you, sir. Or ma'am, I think it's sir, but thank you, either way. Bridge, totally fine. This is all fine. This is all fine. Finish, we're not gonna start it yet because I wanna turn on the QEMU agent, so then we'll have it. So then XOR, maybe we can figure out what's going on. And this install should just be blazing. Like this is all, this is my Dell R710, all SSD storage, 144 gigs of RAM, 24 CPUs. So this should go really fast. And I have 300 megabit internet. So anyways, what are we doing? We want to, let's turn this on. It's disabled. This doesn't matter, but I'd rather turn it on now so I don't have to reboot later. So let's power this guy on. What am I doing? Start him up. Maybe I'll make this full screen so it looks a little better. I don't know. You tell me. So yeah, I'm gonna do Ubuntu 2004. To be honest, this is my first Ubuntu 2004 machine, I think, running. I think I had one for testing something, but I've just kind of been stuck on 18, what is it, 1806? Wait, 04, no, 1810? No, 04, that was the last LTS. Just because so many things were like only supported LTS that I'm like, okay, and then, I don't know, I think Rancher drug their feet. I don't want to say drug their feet. They're hard at work doing a lot of stuff. But they didn't have support right away for Ubuntu 2004, so. Maybe I shouldn't have picked the live server. I don't think it really mattered, but come on. All right, English. That's what we're doing. Update the installer? Yeah, we're gonna install it. Wait, did I say no? Update to the new installer. I'm gonna do it because I don't want to do this later. I'm doing this for real. Oh my goodness. Okay, cool. Yep. Sure, we'll take that IP address. Proxy, no. Mirror, sure. Use the entire disk, yes please. Man, I haven't run the installer lately. It looks nice. Okay, confirm. 60 gigs, yes. Sure. Okay, that all looks good. Yep. You guys are gonna know my real name. Server's name, we can change this later. I'll set this for now, and then set a password. Yeah, there's no way I can easily do that. Actually, yeah, hold on 1 second. Well, you don't have to hold on. I'll still be here. I just want to set a couple of things so that I don't have to do this later. But actually, I guess it doesn't even matter. This guy's not going to be public anyways. But still, just so... I mean, we have a cybersecurity person in the room. He would probably ding me a couple times if I showed you my username. I don't know. Yeah, we're going to install SSH. All right, we're going to go back now. So it's asking me, do I want to install OpenSSH server? Yes, I do, because I want to SSH into this guy, because I don't want to do everything through the terminal or through this console here. What do I need? Do I need microcates? No. Nextcloud? No. Wackin? No. I don't need any of this. I'm not even going to do the Docker that they suggest either. Mosquito, etcd, PowerShell. Nope. That's so funny. Microsoft PowerShell right here on a Linux install. Wow. It's like cats and dogs living together. I never pick any of this. Like back in the day when I used to do a lot of LAMP installs, I would totally pick like, okay, I need Linux, Apache, MySQL, PHP, just because I wanted like webmin and stuff, and then I wanted to run some kind of CMS, but we don't need any of that here. Make sure my chat thing's okay. Yeah, it looks good. Installing kernel, come on. Come on. Thought it'd be faster than this. PowerShell, yeah. It's so crazy. Like, man, Linux or Ubuntu and Microsoft are like this. They're like, you know, they're linked up. You know, Windows 10 has WSL, which is awesome, by the way. I use it all the time. Anytime I launch a terminal in any of my videos, I'm on Windows, but I'm using WSL, the Windows subsystem for Linux. And it's so awesome that Microsoft has figured this out. But now on the other end, now you have Ubuntu who's suggesting or recommending or making available PowerShell during the install. I'm kind of like, oh, this is getting crazy, because I guess I can manage Linux servers with PowerShell, which PowerShell is really good to manage Windows systems. And maybe it's good to manage Linux systems. I have no idea, but that's interesting to think about. Sure, I'm gonna change it. Whoa, oh. Are we back in the installer? We are. Oh man, doesn't it like just like eject my disk for me? We are. We don't want to do that. Do you use Windows Terminal? I do. Absolutely, I do. I love it. I love it. It's the best terminal on Windows. Yeah. So I use Windows Terminal, and then I run WSL, and then I run Ubuntu Linux in WSL, and then in Ubuntu Linux on WSL on Windows, I then run Z shell. It's just this long chain of stuff. Yeah, so I'll show you here in a second. And I have a video on like how to set it up too. It's so nice because one, I use, you know, Linux elsewhere, and I use a Mac too for work. So like having, you know, a similar terminal across everything is awesome. All right, let's quit this guy. I don't think I can easily shut him down because he doesn't have the QEMU agent installed. So let's quit that guy. Quit, right? Isn't it just quit? Should be quit. Yeah, there he goes. All right, let's eject this disk. I don't know why Ubuntu didn't call that like disk eject thing, but let's just take it out. Do not use any media. Most of the time I remove this guy too, because I'm just like, I don't need you anymore. I'll keep it there. Just in case, but go back into summary and watch it boot up. Console. Is there any chance you have a video on how to configure your Windows terminal? Yes, I do. It's funny you asked that, Smash and Crack. I do, mainly because software engineer, I've had to figure out how to make my Windows machine kind of like a Mac or like a Linux machine when I write code. And so I do have a video. If you look at like, I don't know, it's writing, I don't know, it's a JavaScript on Windows config tutorial. And if you follow that, up until if you follow the whole thing and just never write a line in JavaScript, because that's at the very end, yeah, you'll have it totally configured like mine, and I'll show you here in a second. But yeah, it's exactly what I do. I install WSL, install Ubuntu, use Windows Terminal, then configure Windows Terminal to use Ubuntu by default. And then I like Z shell, but you can use Bash, it's there. And then, yeah, and then you're good to go. I'll show you. Yeah, it's right in there. It's like configuring window. I named it probably something very bad. What is going on with this guy too? Like really? Like what are you? Kind of seems like a slow boot. Booting from hard disk? Well, yeah. Did it not really like get installed? I'm totally like, I wonder, did it? You think I haven't done this before? Oh, at the end of the installation, did they? I totally wasn't like paying attention, because usually I just fly through this stuff. All right, let's go back in here. Okay, so let's quit this guy. Sorry, thank you. I totally was just like not paying attention. I'm used to like just that flying through and just working, and I didn't even pay attention to it. Boot order, where's my hardware? CD-ROM, go back here. Thank you. I was totally just like not really closely following like what it said. I just assumed it was done because I've never ever had an error. Let's do it. Thank you. Oh, Noxis Live. Hey, thank you. Thanks. That's a new name. Welcome and thanks. I totally wasn't paying attention as much as I should have been. Oh no, really? What are you doing now? Did I miss the boot? All right, let's quit this guy again. Quit. I think I can use shutdown, but I like doing that because that's like, I know it's gonna work and I don't have to wait for something for a long time. I set up Cloud init in Proxmox and can deploy Ubuntu server in a few seconds. I don't have to go through the install process. Yeah, I totally should too. I totally should. Yeah, I agree. Escape. Hey, thank you so much. Manny, 405, thanks for the follow, appreciate it. Let's go back to the disk. This should literally take like 60 seconds to install. Manny 405, hey, how's it going? I'm looking at some of the monster servers with dual 1600 watt PSUs or PDUs. Do you have any idea if I will have to upgrade to buy a circuit breaker? I don't know. I don't know the answer to that. I don't think so. I mean, most likely you're not going to be drawing 1600 watts. I mean, you could. Depending on what you're running, I guess I can't speak to what you would be pulling, but man, thank you, Smash and Crack. I will for sure. Thank you. But what, like Manny, what do you plan on running on that one of those monster servers? Yeah, I would love to know. Like what workloads? We're gonna update to the new installer. You run like Bitcoin mining or like a huge compute instance to like crush some data or something? Okay, layout, English, yes. Give me an IP, no proxy. That's where we're going. Use entire disk, yes, done. Okay, confirm. Are you sure you want to continue? Yes. All right, I'm gonna do this real quick. You guys already saw what my real name is, and that didn't really help there either. Not. Everyone knows my real name. This is gonna be Rancher 2 server. My username, which isn't really a secret, but at the same time, that's half of my key. Install SSH. Now we can go back to here. It's a 4-node 2U server with an Intel KNL processor installed. So each 2U server will have 256 cores. That is awesome. Wow. I'm a researcher, so they will be used for science. Yeah, yeah, for sure. That's what I was thinking. Like, it's got to be like data science or some big data thing where you just got to crush like a lot of stuff, or it's Bitcoin mining. Wow, that's crazy. So I don't know the answer to that. If anyone in chat knows, I'd love to know too. Yeah, I mean, your circuit breaker, like I'm not great at electricity, but you know, those breakers can only pull so much. I think some have 20, I don't know what they trip at certain voltages or wattage when you're pulling it. So I don't know the answer to that. Yeah, I'd have to Google that one, but man, that sounds pretty awesome. That sounds pretty awesome. Man, your electric bill. It's funny, I'm saying the same thing to you that people say to me when they see my server, but now I'm thinking like, whoa, like that's gonna be a big draw. That sounds sweet though. Like what field, I guess, of research are you in? Just curious. And if you don't want to say, that's totally fine too. You can say the wrong thing and I would totally believe it. Holy moly, enjoy your processing power. Yeah, for sure. That's awesome. I get me some ice cream. Be right back. Ooh, that sounds tasty. Manny, I'm thinking I will have to pay to consult an electrician. Yeah. Or I mean, go on the Home Lab Reddit and see if anyone there has done anything similar. I mean, obviously you're gonna have to consult an electrician like for your own sake, but before you even do that, might be good to tap into that large pool of knowledge that's there too. They're an incredible deal. I was going to say the only time you need to change your breaker outlet is if it draws more than rated amps. Yeah, glad someone knows more about power than I do, because I'm just like, no, I trip a breaker and I flip it right back. Are the PSUs going to be used redundant or combined? Yeah, it's a good question. Number of amps drawn. Hey, smashing crack. Thanks for the follow. I thought you already followed. I don't know. Maybe you did. But either way, thank you. Appreciate it. Normal outlet is 15 amps. Oh, that's right. They are amps, because you can have a 15 or a big 25 or a quad. Sometimes you can get like 2 breakers together, where like your air conditioner is, my air conditioner's on 2 breakers on 1. You do quantum mechanical calculations and machine learning for pharmaceuticals. That sounds awesome. That sounds awesome. Oh, I think I clicked this cancel, update, and reboot, which was like, why did I click that at all? So I'll let that run. That is awesome. Techno Tim, I might have missed you say, but what hypervisor OS do you run that is closest to bare metal? Yeah, I think HomeLab New summed it up. So probably Proxmox. And I mean, I've said this a few times, but I think that ESXi is finely tuned and very close to bare metal and has a very small overhead. But Proxmox is, I mean, it's like 1% to 2% off of bare metal. So Proxmox is awesome, and it's open source and no licensing and all of that. And you can spin it up today very easily. You can do the same with VMware ESXi, but they have limitations. But I think that I think that ESXi is more performant than Proxmox. But I mean, at this point, we're like splitting like a percentage, a single percent or 2. So, but PSUs are redundant, configuration based on the server info. Processor TDP are 250 by 4 equals 1,000 watts. So the 1600 PSU is overkill. Yeah. Yeah, so yeah, I mean, like my PC, my other PC, for some reason when I built it, I put 1,000 watt PDU in it, or PSU, PDU, like it's a server. I put 1,000 watt in it. It doesn't mean it's using it. And I have no idea why I got 1,000 watt. I thought maybe one day I'd run like triple SLI or something, but no. So yeah. Yeah, but still 1,000 watts though. That's pulling 1,000 watts. That's a lot. Don't get me wrong, not downplaying it if it's drawing that much. Yeah, the world's most powerful folding out home server. Yeah, for sure. What do I think about Zen and Zen Orchestra? I don't know enough about it. I have spun it up before. I have checked it out. And I know there's this XCPNG for Zen that's out and people like it. But I don't know enough about it. And I think what keeps me from, checking it out more is right now they don't support NVIDIA GPU pass-through. So, and I think it's coming. But the only reason why I haven't checked it out is because I need to pass through my NVIDIA GPU. And so, but it looks fine. I mean, Lawrence Systems, I think his name's Tom. Like he uses it. A lot of people use it. I mean, I think he recommends it. He's a consulting person or a company. And so I think they install it for corporations. So like it looks totally good. It looks fine. UI looks good. I'm just like, I found Proxmox because I needed to pass through a GPU to my guest machines. And I figured it out after like a whole weekend of trying. And I've been sticking with it ever since, because I definitely need my guest machine to have direct access to my NVIDIA GPU. But that might change in the future. We'll see. Homeland New, I'm surprised you aren't using GPUs for the ML. Oh yeah, machine learning bit, unless your particular is CPU bound. It's a good point. Yeah, because you can do machine learning on GPUs though too, but Manny, you should be able to find out on the PCU, look at the rated amps. I use GPU for deep networks and CPUs for the QM, quantum mechanics, simulations, and other parallelized analysis. Wow. man, I'd love to do more machine learning in general, just ML in general. There's a couple things at work we're trying to apply it to, but we're all totally noobs in this area. Me more than others. I use the GPU, XCPNG. Yeah, that's what I was just saying. Zen has a limit of 2 terabytes for guest disks, which is a bummer. Yeah, that's another bummer I didn't know about. Didn't know that. I don't think, yeah, so I don't, well, I don't, I guess I don't know enough about it, if that would affect me or not, but I think it would, because my guest machine, one of them has, the whole 24 terabytes, but it's passed directly through my LSI, so yeah. Yeah, I don't know enough about it. There's a few people in here that really, as soon as someone mentions Zen, they perk up. And for me, I'm just like, yeah, I don't know enough about it yet. But I mean, I'll definitely keep an eye on it as it evolves. So anyways, this looks like it installed complete. I think last time I hit error. Oh yeah, failed unmounting. Yeah, whatever. I'll show you how to unmount. Go back in. Man, I'll quit this guy, and then we'll go in here, and then we'll just eject this disk. What am I doing? Hardware, CD-ROM, do not use. Now we'll start this guy up. What programming language do you guys use? I use Scala primarily for work. Python and C. Nice, man. You guys use some awesome languages. Pretty low level stuff. At least the C. Yeah, I do. JavaScript, TypeScript. I've done some C++. I've done .NET, so C#, VB.NET, but I don't do either of those anymore. But yeah, that's awesome. I'd love to learn more Python. I know it's super popular right now. There we go. Is that 2 terabyte limit something that will be lifted in the future, or is it a hard limit for the foreseeable future? Yeah, it's a great question. I don't know the answer to that. Maybe Phantomway does. According to Wendell from Level 1 Text, Proxmox out-evolves Zen Orchestra plus XCPNG. Oh, that's made a safe early bet then. But who knows? Like everyone leapfrogs, each other time and time again. But yeah, it's I made a good choice then. Yeah, I totally respect what Wendell says. I'm just like, okay, he says it like totally. I'm there with you. According to okay, so I actually don't even work in a tech-related field, but I learn all of this stuff for fun. Yeah, that's awesome that you're learning that for fun. That's a lot to learn too. That you don't even have a tech background. Yeah. It's the limit of the guest image VHD format. There's talks about changing it. Yeah, it seems like they probably should change it because although 2 terabytes seems ginormous to us now, it won't in, whatever, a couple of years. It doesn't even seem that ginormous to me now. I mean, I have hard drives that are 3 terabytes that are on my workbench because I have no use for them because I need bigger. So having that limitation on virtual hardware is yeah, it seems like a showstopper for some people. No, XOR, you recently went from XCPNG to Proxmox. Nice. Come on, what are you doing? Oh, okay. Give me 1 sec. Let me see if this is. I don't even know why I'm hiding my username. I mean, I might as well just called it root and just showed it to you and then just changed it later. Because like, yeah, this doesn't even matter. So I don't care if you see my username because I can always change it later. Oh yeah, I don't have ifconfig. I have what? IP address? What's my IP address? And then I'll get my terminal. Is it IP address? Yeah, there we go. 235. So let's bring up a terminal now because this looks better. So if you're asking about Windows Terminal, this is the Windows Terminal I'm using right here. And so in Windows Terminal, you can launch anything. I could launch, PowerShell from here. I can launch just a command prompt. But I've configured it to launch, Azure Cloud Shell. Not going to do that, but that's awesome. I've configured it to launch Ubuntu. So I'm running WSL, the Windows subsystem for Linux here. And whoa, that was crazy. The magnifier. I'm using my Mac commands. But anyways, so I use the Windows subsystem for Linux, and then if you go in here into settings, you can actually replace what your default terminal is when you launch it. So it's pretty cool. So what am I SSHing into? Here at 238? What did that say? 235. Yes. Hopefully that text is big enough for you guys. Password, lots of keys. All right, there we go. Can I put this guy in full screen? There we go. Hopefully it looks okay. So first thing I'm gonna do is update this. It should be up to date, but we'll see. I'm not used to this huge microphone right in front of my face while I type. All right, thanks XOR. That's a good point. My plan is to get the one storage server for TrueNAS and the second server with Zen. There are just so many choices of what you can buy, and it gets frustrating. I agree. I've already done days of research. I hear you. Like, it took me a long time. Oh, I'm surprised there are updates. It took me a long time to settle on my infrastructure too. I watched a Dell R710 for like a month before I bought it, because I was like, is this gonna do what I want it to do? And is it the right price? Why am I buying a rack mount server without a rack yet? Like, all these questions you ask yourself. And so, I don't know. Yeah, it's tough. But what I found is, like, I always find, I repurpose everything, you know. Like I said, my old gaming PC, I converted to a rack mount server now too. So that's cool. And then, you know, and now I have a rack mount server. And then I bought a disk shelf. Who knows why? I thought I needed one. Well, I just wanted some future expansion, but that all can change too. Looks good. Thank you. I already said that. Do you ever have issues running your VMs with multiple monitors? Yeah, good question. So my Windows VMs, I don't know if I've ever tried it. I think I have before, but I never run I only have like 2 Windows virtual machines, and I haven't tried to extend them. The last time, I know it's possible. Well, I know it's possible in VMware ESXi with the Horizon client or something like that, but I don't know about for RDP. That's a good question. I haven't tried it. I don't want to remote into my Windows machine right now to test it, but something I'll definitely write down and look into. Multi-monitor RDP support. I'm sure it is possible. But yeah, good question. I don't know the answer. What problems are you having? So what were we going to install? QEMU? I think all this time XOR has been waiting. apt get install QEMU. Is it guest agent or is it agent? Oh, I'm gonna have to look at Proxmox documentation. Proxmox QEMU agent. I always want to say guest additions. Oh, it is guest agent. I got it. Okay. I should have just hit enter as if it would have really done something wrong. All right, let's see. Let's get out of full screen, because I think as soon as this service comes up, you should be able to see it over here, right? He's in full screen. Go here. Split screen. Let's do that. Summary. All right. And then, why am I doing git status? You can tell I'm a developer. I'm like, that's like my git status is like my go-to. Whenever I'm like not thinking about what I'm doing, I do git status, because I do it so much throughout the day to see if like my code workspace is dirty or not, or unclean. But let's just reboot it. Let's take the most draconian approach ever, as if we're running Windows, and just reboot the server. You have to reboot or start the service manually. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, thank you, Phantom Way. I'm I don't know. I think I've had like reboot like beaten into me from modems, cable modems, and Windows machines, or older Windows machines. Windows 10 is good. Windows 10 now is good. I'm just the other day I was just saying like, wow, hey, there we go. Look at that. Just the other day I was just like, yeah, Windows is good now. Like it's totally, and it's getting better. But I use Linux and a Mac all day at work, so I use everything. But look at this. XOR, we were able to do it. So I have the guest agent running, so we can see my IP. So that looks like it's working. So the only thing I did, you know, was update everything and then install the. I can see all my commit messages. Chore. Looks like yours work. Yeah. So I'm surprised that yours didn't. So no VMs at this time. But let's SSH back into there because you're not going to be able to see the history. You're going to see my history on my local machine, not there. But yeah, that's all I did was sudo apt sudo. I got to keep correcting myself. I said sudo. I've said sudo for years, but and I know a lot of people do, but some other people I work with say sudo, and I say them both now. But anyways, sudo apt get install QEMU guest agent. Did not work for me. Oh, that's a bummer. Do you get a specific error? Because man, that does kind of stink. And if it's a brand new machine, when in doubt, wipe it and start all over. Another draconian approach. But that's how I roll. But yeah, just being younger and not understanding a lot of this stuff, I had this like idea that I was going to build the perfect server every time or a perfect Windows machine every time I spun something up. And if I got one error throughout the whole thing, I was like, shut her down, re-image the whole thing. You do, but you can't make sense of it. That stinks. And it's running on KVM or Proxmox, because that should work. That should work. It totally should work. So that's unfortunate that it doesn't. Let me see here, okay. Okay, so let's look at, let me pull this up really quick. Hopefully you guys can see both windows at once. Yeah, you don't, that's just right, because you don't need to see this terminal stuff that I've already put in there. Proxmox, yeah, so that kind of stinks. Yeah, I mean, I would say like maybe just spin up another VM really quick. You're not using an LXC container, are you? It's an actual Ubuntu 2004 LTS virtual machine, and not like an LXC container. Assuming the answer is yes, but I'm just trying to like cover all my bases. Yeah, but Ubuntu VM, weird. I mean, you saw we were just able to do it. Man, I would try, what is it, uname? Is uname that shows you in Linux? The, oh, that's just gonna show me, the actual, is it gonna show me the version? Oh, I mean, no, I forget what shows me the patch level, the Linux command. Yeah, so, yeah, man, I wish I had a better answer. My approach would be like, if it's a brand new machine, you just spun it up, and the first thing you try to do is install the QEMU agent, and like it doesn't work, I would just like wipe it and try it again. Because it's like, you know, I don't know. I'm always weird about like if things go wrong in the beginning and don't have much invested in it, I don't know. I'm just like, okay, time to start all over. But that's not always the case. Okay, so what were we doing? We want to get single node Docker installations. And we already provisioned a Linux host. So anyways, my goal for today, at least, you know, by the end of the stream was just to get Rancher, spin up a new virtual machine, running Ubuntu 2004, installing Rancher, and with that, I'll get Docker and I'll get Kubernetes. Heavyset QEMU, yes, in the Proxmox option. Yeah, that's a good call too. I think if you don't have that turned on, I could be wrong. It'll work. It just won't report back. I think that's a flag to listen, but I could be wrong. But yeah, it's a good call. Like, you know, is it turned on there? You did? Oh, that's a bummer. So let's see. Where's the Docker install scripts? Docker installs. That's what we're gonna do. Docker install. No, not air gap. We are gonna persist some data. Rancher. Okay, but where is? I thought they had newer Docker install scripts that I could use. GitHub. Scripts. Oh, description. That was a bad search term. Okay. Let's make sure we're on here. Okay. Single node. Did that. Yeah. This is where we found the other day that they haven't updated their documentation yet because they support newer versions. Here we go. Scripts. There it is, 1903. Yeah. So we found the other day that I think in their GitHub that they supported newer versions of Docker, and I think you're right, 1903. But they didn't update their documentation site yet. Which, give me 1 second, because I know it was in our Discord. Here we go. Copy link. Yeah, here we go. Curl, yeah. I just want to see what they say. What version of Docker? Oops. 245. Rancher OS. See, I almost did Rancher OS, but it was kind of a pain to get going. Istio, catalog. Oh, their catalog stuff is getting cool because it's gonna make it super easy to install. Okay, you're right. 1903X. Okay, so you were saying it was back here? How did I not see that? Probably because I'm just like all over the place right now. You said there's Docker? Because I only saw their script to install 18. Am I like flying by it? I'm just gonna go to their GitHub because they have everything in their GitHub. It's on the link you shared. Oh, I can't see links. Sorry. Support versions. Yeah, that's what I thought. Saw XOR. That's what I pulled up. I actually copy and pasted your link. Did I not go high enough? I said follow this, and you said this, and I said nice, and you said it's supported, and that's the link I just pasted in here. Yeah, I'm using your link. I'm totally referencing this. And we saw 1903, but they have their own install script. That's usually, oh, I guess I can just replace it. You're right. I think I understand what you're just saying. Just basically use this and replace it with 1903, right? But where's their GitHub? Here we go. There we go. Oh, there we go. All right, this is what I was going for. Because I want to know the patch version too. Okay, so 1903.9. That's 2 months ago. Is there anything newer than this? 1903? Guess not. Right? Yeah, that looks like it, huh? Okay, so that's what we'll do. 1903.12, where are you seeing 12? Am I missing it? Oh, because is it not in what, lexicographical order? Yeah, good call. Good call. Good call. Okay, so 1903.12.sh. So one thing I learned about copying and pasting is like that carriage return at the end will get you every time. So what are we saying it is? 19. You're saying it's 1903-12. Thank you, sir. How's that look? Except for not saying 19. 1903-12. All right. How's that look? That looks good. Okay. Let's go it. Let's go for it. All right. Well, that's going. So we're getting Docker installed now. We're doing it through their script. And yeah, you can see my username, but you change that later. And this is in public anyways. Okay, so then I gotta grab one more thing. GitHub. Well, that's going. I just need to grab. Where am I gonna map this to? That's okay. I can just do that. And what's the latest version of Rancher 2.4.5? That's what you were trying to point out months ago. Yeah, sorry. I totally and then in a later thread, I was just like, well, I'm just going with what their documentation said because they use that same GitHub repo for Docker 1 and Docker 2. And so for me, the missing link was what XOR pointed me to was this, their SLA stuff, and then the actual support matrix. And so, you know, yeah. So anyways, I was getting like their GitHub of all their Docker installs is a mix of just how to install, you know, Docker. And so I knew that newer versions of Docker and Ubuntu were supported on 1, but not on 2. And so I was just like, well, it says, you know, do this here. But the XOR pointed this out to me, and I'm like, this was where the light bulb turned on. I'm like, yeah, it says it right there. But yeah, apologize if I missed that. And I remember you saying that, and then I was like, well, I think I was going on and on about like going rogue or something. Not that you were going rogue, but that I enjoy going rogue, but then sometimes like I just want things to work. Okay, so Docker or Rancher 2.4.5, that's what we're doing, right? Okay. Yeah, we already installed Docker, acquire, blah, 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 blah. Okay, so now we want to, I think I have my command. Do I have my command from last time that I normally use? I think so, but I'm not going to pin the latest. Okay. And then, how does that look? Okay, so what am I doing? Docker run D, it's a daemon, restart unless stopped. Okay, yep. Port on the outside will be 9090. On the container, it'll be 80. Another port. I see port, but I think it's, I forget what the actual flag stands for. I always say port. But anyways, 9091 on the outside for 443, and then we're gonna map a volume opt rancher on the outside to varlib rancher on the inside. This name, I don't even need to give it a name. I think the name makes it harder to upgrade later. So I'm actually gonna take out this name. No, you know what? I'm gonna leave it because then it'll just be easy for me to find. Anyway. And then this is going to map the volume locally. I mean, I could do that. Oh yeah, let's do it. What the heck? Sorry, this is like, it's like broken. What? Docker run D and let's stop yada yada yada. Oh, I need to add permissions. All right, hold on. I need to add, I don't want to run sudo docker all the time. Docker as without sudo. Group add, gotcha. Already exists, add your user mod. AG, so it's sudo. Scroll up in the terminal. Oh, what does it tell me? Oh yeah, thank you. Yeah. Thank you. Oh, and then I have to log out, don't I? I think I have to sign out, or yeah. Let me. There we go. Si, senor. Go. All these layers. It's so awesome how Docker works with layering. Okay. Let's see. Docker, yes. What's running? He's running. Can we tail this guy? What is it? Docker logs. This guy, -s follow. What it is? Yeah. Get to see a whole lot of stuff going on for a minute. But as he's going, then we can go, what's my IP address? It's 192.168.0.235. Oh, I already forget. Actually, I know I can spin up a new terminal. It is 35. But it's gonna be 90. I think. Crazy boy, ow. Hey, sorry if it's a common question, but I'm new here. Do you by any chance, change your Pi ping? Yeah, I do. Yeah, it's on my GitHub. No, a few people have asked me on Reddit, and so I just posted up to GitHub. It's terrible code, but at the same time, it works. I've been using it for years. And it's funny, like as I was recording that video about like my home lab, as I was recording that video and editing that video for home lab, power went out that day. And I was just like, how crazy is this? But yeah, it's right here. Bad code, works great. Bad script, I should say. It's not, I don't know why it did 9443. I don't even need SSL. 9090, is that what it did? We'll know here in a second. Like, why is it deciding 9443? Okay, what did I say? 9091 or 9080, either way. This should work, right? Oh yeah, no problem. Yeah, it's like I said, not the greatest code, but it works. It's pretty solid. And like I ended up installing both like Wake on Land and some other utility because like I had problems between. There we go. I had problems like in between versions of Ubuntu, so I'm like, I'll install them both, so I'll never have to worry. Like it's totally like I said, it's not the greatest, but it works. I've probably said that 3 times, but let me just put my password in here. Give me 30 seconds. Okay, I agree to the terms. We don't want to give you data collection. Sorry, Rancher. Oh, okay. Yeah, sure. Okay. They're cruising along. Got it. Okay, man, there we go. So we got to finish up a couple more things. Yeah, I need to put it on dark mode because why not? So we need to what? Create a new cluster? We need to create a new cluster, right? Man, I haven't had to do this in a while. Oh yeah, because we don't have a cluster. Create a new cluster. This is going to be my external, which, yeah, I still go back and forth on really do I need 2 versions of Rancher, but I kind of want to keep them separate. I know that I could probably get by with one and do some fancy stuff with networking, but I just don't even want to deal with it. If it works, that's all that matters. Yeah, I'm right there with you. Right there with you. Okay, so external, yeah, sure. Cloud provider, none. Self, can I put myself in there? External, I don't need to change any of this. I'm just seeing if anything changed. Okay, new cluster, all right. etcd, worker. Do I normally do control plane too? I think I need all three of these roles. All three of these node options, thank you, yeah. Because this is a single node, so like who else would do it? No one. Okay. So that should have given me this. Should just be able to copy pasta that in there. Yeah, go, go, go. All right, let's do a Docker PS now. And then, oh yeah. I guess we don't even need to do that. We just kind of wait here until cluster shows up. Oh yeah, provisioning. Yeah, I know. Now I'm like stuck. Hold on. I shouldn't have clicked on it yet. It wasn't ready for me. He's like, no, accept the risk. Yeah, I'll wait for this to get done. Yeah, he's starting to pull down images now. All right, I can see myself on Twitch, so I think I'm back. Sorry, I'm no idea what happened there. Went offline while I was doing something. Poor timing. All right, this guy's still provisioning. RKE ingress controller, sweet, it's going. Yeah, sorry about that. Yeah, totally. I don't know. OBS said I was disconnected. Spotify said I was offline. So, hey, yeah, not sure what happened. It's, I don't know if, yeah, something on my network. But we back. There we go. Awesome. Yes, nice. Cluster is currently updating. Go for it. By the way, I just wanted to thank you for that idea. I have a Pi 3 sitting around now. I have no good use for it. Yeah, hey, no problem. Yeah, I had, it was kind of my build too. Like I was using the Pi 0 for Pi-hole at first. I tried to do it with Home Assistant, but it just wasn't powerful enough. And then I used it for Pi-hole and it was powerful enough. And then I moved everything into, you know, Rancher or Docker basically. And then I was like, okay, I don't need this anymore. And I thought, well, there are times when the power does go out. Like I know it's rare, but it does happen. And there are other times when just like, I don't know, weird stuff happens, or I accidentally shut something down remotely and I'm like, oh my gosh, what am I gonna do now? And so my two servers should never be off. If I shut them off, I pull the power on the Raspberry Pi, because like, you know, it's gonna keep starting it back up. So yeah, but yeah, just, I think I have documentation on there on what to install, and then you install those couple of things, run that script, replace it with your own MAC address, and add it to your startup script, and should work good. Default active. Awesome. Okay. Hey Tim, half paying attention to you and watching the Dragon undocking from the ISS. Oh, nice. Yeah, I haven't been up to date on with that. I mean, of course, when it tried to launch the first time and then was delayed, and then I watched the second one, the second attempt, which was successful, and then after that, I haven't been paying attention. But that's awesome. Yeah, hey, Neva Cop, good to see you. Crazy boy, oh, yeah, we'll definitely do that. Yeah, should let me know. Let me know if it works. And here's where Rancher is starting to get awesome, is because they actually have Helm like integrated now, and with Helm, they have these things called charts. Not too informed on it. I've used it a little bit, but it basically gives you a Kubernetes service all in a template, which is super nice because they have like traffic and stuff in here now. But this is growing. When I opened this for the first time, there were like 5 things in here. I was like, oh my gosh, this is like Rancher 1 all over again. Not anymore. This is totally growing. So this is, I don't want to call it their app store. Some people might call it that, but it's basically their Helm chart library. But it's awesome because like, oh, I want Kong. Okay, launch. I got Kong. You know, or I want traffic, or I want Jerome. You know, if I have my own CI/CD pipeline, you know, and I want a worker node here locally to pick up, you know, jobs to compile code. Yeah, 2 clicks. I mean, obviously you gotta, you know, plug in a few more things, but it's pretty awesome. MariaDB, you know, it's right here. I don't have to go and figure out the commands. The only downside is, you know, it takes some maintenance on their side to build out the form to fill in these items. It's not much. I mean, it's just plugging this into YAML values, but someone still has to do that. But it's pretty awesome. I don't know. I hope they keep going with it. You know, same with Redis. Like, I guess Redis, if I followed the Docker instructions, kind of be easy, but this is even easier. Splash down off the coast of Florida tomorrow. Yeah, nice. Not sure the time. Need to work on my Jekyll static website tomorrow. Cool. Have you worked with that at all for basic web development? I have. So I've done some Jekyll stuff before, because for like marketing stuff, like single page app stuff where you just want to like advertise something, it's super easy to spin up in Jekyll. I actually use Hugo. I know Jekyll's out there. Hugo's another big one. That's pretty awesome. Hey, take me, NL. Thank you so much for the follow. Appreciate it. So yeah, I've used Jekyll before, but I prefer Hugo. I don't remember why. And so I have 3 or 4 web pages that I run that are just like marketing or advertisement landing pages for either apps I write, or, you know, I don't know, websites for, you know, just landing pages for like my brother and stuff. Even my own personal like kind of portfolio page is built in Hugo because I don't need to write it all in React just to do that. So long story short, I've done it, and they're awesome. They're fantastic. And yeah, and I host them all in my own infrastructure, so it's cool. Yeah. Take me NL. It just came here from your very detailed home services tour. Awesome video, by the way. Thank you. Yeah, thank you. I don't know. Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it. Those 2 videos took a ton of time, and I was like, how can I do this the most direct way that's not confusing in less than like 20 minutes, and even like 15 minutes was pushing it. So yeah, I appreciate it. It was a ton of effort. Those 2 videos I did back to back, my hardware tour and then my services tour. It was like 2 weeks of nonstop filming and editing. Well, filming I usually do in one day, a couple of hours, but editing is throughout the week along with everything else. Navy Cop, it's a toss-up between them. I'm pretty sure I'm pretty new to them, and it has been a while since I did development of any sort. Want to set up a blog talking about my house renovations and such. Yeah, it's awesome. So I'm going to throw this out there. Like with static site generators, that's what Jekyll and Hugo are. They're great for static content. They're also pretty good for, you know, content that doesn't change often. So like a marketing page for, I don't know, let's say I sell whatever, Cliff Bars, and you know, that Cliff Bar page is gonna live there either forever or die. And you know, it's gonna rarely change. They might add, you know, a couple tabs for, I don't know, whatever, new flavors or varieties. And so that, for the most part, is pretty static. But if you're thinking of actually doing a blog, I would look at WordPress. And I know that's a lot of like infrastructure to get going, but like WordPress has an awesome Docker container. I use it myself for my own personal blog. And I run it in Rancher and I self-host the whole thing, even SSL. And WordPress, albeit I don't particularly like or know the stack that well. I mean, it's MySQL, PHP, and I don't know either of those languages. But at the end of the day, it gives me a solid like blogging platform that lets me write content and not code. Because there are times you want to write code, but if you want to write content, then you have to write Markdown, at least in Hugo. You know, you're writing Markdown as if you're doing documentation, and then that generates good looking content for you. And then you have to commit and save that somewhere and then push it up. And so with WordPress, you're creating content using a WYSIWYG editor and you're saving it to a database and it's done. You're done with it, you know, and there's tons of themes and tons of plugins. You know, if you wanted to upload images, it's so easy to do. So yeah, I don't mean to make it even more confusing, but if you're thinking of doing a blog, yeah, look at Node or look at WordPress if you want to self-host it. They're pretty easy to get set up. But Jekyll, Hugo, awesome too. But yeah, take me cool. I can't relate a lot because you have my own home lab. Cool, yeah, I'm glad. Yeah, I was so embarrassed to like show mine off for so long because you see the most awesome setups ever on Reddit, in the subreddit for home lab, and I'm just like, oh, mine's not the greatest. And then I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna do it because why not? I don't know. That's kind of why I started my whole entire channel, was just to document the stuff that I work on because people ask me how to do stuff or what I use. And so I'm like, what better way to tell someone or show someone as well as learn how to edit videos than to just make one. But yeah, it's super fun. It changes every week. I'm slowly though honing in on my preferred stack. I mean, I have my preferred stack for the most part now. It's bare metal Proxmox. On top of that, it's going to be Docker containers, probably with Rancher and Kubernetes. Maybe not in the future. Maybe Portainer, who knows? Because it's so much easier than this. But I think I'm going to keep going down this path. But a lot to do. I mean, there's always more to do, and it complicates stuff that I host like my home's infrastructure there. My home's DNS is in there with Pinehole. My home's PVR for home security's in there, and the same with my DVR with Plex. It's in there. But then also I have public services too for like my apps and websites, and those are all on the public side. So kind of stinks to change stuff up. But anyways, hopefully I'll figure it out. And yeah, I appreciate you stopping in and mentioning that too. I'm Lymanson. Can you talk about how your VM communicates with one another? Do you have its own IP address, host a server, pass it down traffic to? I'm curious how one VM communicates to another on an entirely different host. Yeah, it's going to be via IP address. If they're virtual machines, it's going to be IP address. Most of my virtual machines don't need to talk to each other, with the exception of like my FreeNAS server. So my FreeNAS server I use, for my storage. I use it for SMB shares and for iSCSI and for NFS. And so those other virtual machines just do it through IP address. I could set up DNS internally and do all that, but I know the IP addresses. I know I shouldn't say every. All of my servers and all of my Raspberry Pis and stuff. Basically, most things that have a static IP, I know it off the top of my head. And there's a ton. Sometimes I have to guess, and that's why my ZSH history helps a lot. But I don't normally do it through DNS. So an internal DNS. So hopefully that answers your question. Yeah, it's gonna be IP address for sure. And then does each VM have its own virtual MAC address as well? Yeah, absolutely. They have to be. They have to be unique for sure. Treat your virtual machine like a bare metal physical machine. It needs, if it has a network card, a NIC, it will have a MAC address, and that MAC address needs to be globally unique, because underneath the covers, that's really, I think, how things are getting routed at a lower level. And someone probably knows more about networking than me. But yeah, so all your virtual machines that have a network card, have to have a unique MAC. If you don't have a unique MAC, like the switch will not know how to route that traffic. I don't even know what will happen. But yeah, you'll definitely need to do that. And then plus, if you're, reserving those IP addresses, I don't know what DHCP will do. It'll give it out to both of them or try to give it to both of them. I have no clue. But yeah, you never want to have the same MAC address. And I think every time you generate a new virtual NIC, whatever your hypervisor is, if it's Proxmox, will try to generate a unique one for you, like a GUID that's globally unique. Navy Cop, I was trying to get away from the overhead of WordPress. Yeah, I heard a couple of people using Jekyll, but I felt it might be an issue. I'll take a look at spinning up Docker container for that and play around with it again. Appreciate your overview of the two different directions. Yeah, and so I don't want to sway you from Jekyll at all, or Hugo or whatever. I don't want to sway you from static, generator, site generator. But I was just thinking like, where WordPress shines, especially if you're going to do something like, talk about your home improvements, you're probably going to have photos, maybe videos, and who knows, maybe they're just links to content elsewhere, but WordPress makes it super easy to do that stuff. And WordPress has so many plugins like Google Analytics and all the, if you're going to monetize your site, it's just like, it's all, right there for you. But yeah, take a swing with Jekyll. And if you like that, it's super easy. It's like you run the Jekyll command, forget what it is on Hugo, it's you run the Hugo command. It outputs HTML, CSS, and JavaScript for you. And then you can just host that somewhere. Me personally, then I put it in a Docker container. And then I have Rancher pull it down for me. And then I host it that way. So then all of my assets, or my code assets, are inside of a container. Yeah, I have 2 Proxmox servers in a cluster just because it was easy management, and also a Docker Swarm cluster just because it was fun. Oh, awesome. I haven't done Docker Swarm. You should check out Swarm Pit. It's a management for Docker Swarm stacks. Awesome. Yeah, it sounds awesome. I might check it out someday. I just remember there was like Docker Swarm, and I think Mesos was the Apache one. And they all wanted to be the orchestration for Docker. But then Kubernetes came along, and then for some reason, everybody's like Kubernetes. And I don't mean everyone. I just mean I guess I should say enterprises were like, yeah, Kubernetes, for whatever reason, because it's pretty good. And because Google, built it, and then they turned it over to whatever, the Cloud Foundation. And they knew Google was using it, and Google does a lot of stuff. So, but yeah, I'll have to check it out sometime. Yeah, I haven't even used. I've used Docker Compose before, but like I said, after just being a software engineer in an enterprise for a while, I didn't have time to or chances to test other things out, because they had their infrastructure there already, and it's here's what you're going to use. Obviously it was that, or try to figure out my own way to deploy code somewhere. But yeah, I'll have to check it out. Yeah, Kuber is cool and scalable, but for small setups, yeah. And overhead, yeah, I totally agree. Yeah, look what I'm doing. I have a super small setup too, and I'm, for some reason, getting this going. And it's mainly because I want to use kube. I say kube control. Some people say kube cuddle. Some people say everything else. But I basically want to use Kubernetes deployments for my own stuff, so that my home code looks like my work code. Because I understand that flow and how it works. But yeah, that's awesome. No swaying my own opinion at all. I have been debating both and appreciate hearing the points for both. As long as I can figure out how to spin up both instances, it's nothing but playing around. Yeah, it should be pretty good. Yeah, the deployment piece is going to be the hardest piece because you can spin both of those up on your your own machine relatively easily, especially if you have Docker running. It's going to be the okay, now how do I get this on a server? And that's exactly why another reason for Kubernetes is how do I get it on a server? That's a tough question to answer. I mean, some people will just they'll SSH in and they'll just do an SCP, copy the files over, and be done with it. Host it on Apache or Nginx with a reverse proxy, and maybe put a certificate in front of it, and you're good. But yeah, so you're gonna have a lot of options with deployments, but I mean, you'll figure out what works. And I didn't, okay, so I didn't realize what time it was. I do have to, I think I kind of got to wrap this up here in a second. But man, today was awesome. I had an awesome time today. Like I got to talk about so many things and, learn so much about what you guys are working on and get so many ideas for things for the future. So thank you so much. I kind of accomplished what I want to accomplish today. I didn't do any migration, but at least I got my server up and going, and then I can just migrate all this stuff like tonight, hopefully. But yeah, I just wanted to tell you thank you. There was also a lot of follows in there, and XOR, man, thank you so much for the gifted subs. I really appreciate that. Let me check something really quick. I don't know why my dashboard is all messed up. Okay, sorry. I was just making sure I was still online as I was telling people thank you. But no, thank you for coming in. Thank you for hanging out. Thanks for chatting. This was super awesome. I love it when I can hop on Twitch and just make this totally like interactive instead of like me like talking at people, like having questions and discussions about things that you guys are interested in. Totally makes me happy. So I really appreciate it. And I appreciate all the follows. I appreciate the time. And XOR, totally, man, you didn't have to. Thank you so much for the gifted subs. I really appreciate that. Like, I totally, just thank you. I appreciate it. I don't know what else to say. It was awesome. And, the only thing, just coming here and spending time, in my channel is more than I can ask for. So thank you. Thank you. I'll stick around too. Yeah, thank you so much. No, yeah, thanks for everything, everyone. I will be back on stream on Tuesday. So on Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday. But I'll be in Discord, until then. And then hopefully have some more content for you next Saturday. It's usually every Saturday that I do, video on demand or YouTube, and then Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday on Twitch. So I'll be back Tuesday. Maybe I'll have something to show you with Rancher, or we can go down a different path. If you guys want to see TrueNAS scale and we want to spin that up and poke around at it and see what it's all about, we can do that too. So if you guys have ideas, throw them in Discord. But otherwise, have a great rest of the weekend. It's Saturday for folks in the US. So enjoy your night, stay safe, and I'll see you Tuesday. Take care. Thank you.